Hey everyone, this is Nate and this is the Nader Tater channel. Alright, here I have something that a lot of people have been asking for, and that is a small cellular 5G modem that does not have Wi-Fi built in, it does not have a router built into it, it only has an Ethernet port that's really designed to go to your own personal Wi-Fi router or mesh setup, or designed to go directly to a single unit only by Ethernet. That's the only way you can talk to this. So let me go into what this is, a few of the settings that it has available, and then of course what everyone likes to know is, will it work with my SIM card out of T-Mobile or Verizon Home Internet, or some other plans, visible plans, straight talk plans, that kind of stuff. And then what type of speed does it have, especially relative to some of these other third-party gateways that are out there. So I will test the speed of it versus this Chester Cheetah device with the same SIM, as well as versus a T-Mobile stock gateway. I'll probably test the Arcadian KVD21 that I already have set up. So we'll go through that, but first let me go into a little bit of details of what this is. And basically this is, I would call it a low volume kind of custom build that Invisagig makes. Now they're related to or the same as wirelesshaven.com, and this is, it looks like a pretty well packaged unit. This is the box that it comes in, and it looks pretty nice. The case itself is not like a molded plastic case. It is like flat plastic sheet that looks like it's laser cut or water jet cut, and then it's screwed together. But the fit and finish is actually pretty good on it. It has a built-in fan, and then it has 4 SMA connectors for your external antennas, and you can hook up something like a waveform external antenna to this. In fact, I'll touch on that here in a minute. And then on the front of it, it has a couple lights that tell you if the top left one that's green is the net one, so that tells you if I'm connected to my 5G cellular, which I am. And then the next green light beside this blinking is the Ethernet. Then you have power, and I think that bottom right light doesn't do anything, unless I could be wrong. Maybe it's errors or something. And then you have a SIM card that goes over here. It uses a regular or full-size SIM card, but what's nice about it is with their kit that comes in the box, they actually include the adapters to go from a micro and a nano and a full-size SIM card and a little injection pin. It comes with the 110 adapter that converts it to 12 volts to power it. Gives you a short Ethernet cable, and then it has a couple things. One is just a diagram of the different components, and I'll go over that here in a second as well. And then they have this warranty card, and their logo is super simple, crazy fast. And so I'll go over that. And then here is the QR code that gets you to basically, I think, the setup PDF. I wish they would just give you a link, but it's easy enough. You can just go to visagig.com, and that's what we'll do here now. Okay, so one note is really you need a laptop or a computer to do the initial configuration and stuff. You can get into it with a little bit of tinkering with a phone or a tablet, but it's not quite set up for that. They officially don't support that, but it is just a web interface. Alright, so here's their website, just invisagig.com, and you can see here it has a couple information. It is designed from the 600 to 6000 megahertz, which is the bandwidth that you care about for T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T in the U.S. There's its high quality fan that automatically kicks on. A very important thing here is what type of modem does it have. So it has the Qualcomm Snapdragon X62, which is a very good modem for 5G, and that's the same exact one that's actually in the Chester, so I would expect similar performance, but that's not always the case, so that's why we'll test it and verify. And then here is the Ethernet port. It is a 2.5 gig Ethernet port capability, so that would be the fastest speed that it could obviously put out in that Ethernet. I think theoretically the cellular modem is like a 3.5 gig capability, but you would be limited to 2.5. Typically you don't see that though, so that should not be a problem. There's the antenna ports, and here is the SIM card. So you can go through here and they do provide some more information, but you can see that it really is set up to be hooked up to another router, and this is basically just your cellular modem is what it's for. Now we can go in here into more details. They just give you a couple more pictures that you can look at here, and then also on here they give you some specs that you can go through and see what all it does do. It does support, carrier aggregation, which is important, the 4x4 antenna support, and then it does support all of the major U.S. carriers. So that's probably the key points that you want to look at. It does do IP pass-through and that kind of stuff for those that want to get rid of one layer of NAT for you. But if you were to go into the support page, this is where you can download the quick start guide, and the full user manual is in here as well as a little diagram that shows you how you would hook up a on this one it says wireless haven 4x4, but that would be probably the same as a waveform 4x4 antenna as well. Oh, here it is. It even has the waveform called out. Okay, so even better. So that is listed there. If we go into the Chester Tech Repairs, which also sells it. In fact, I get you a discount using a discount code, so you can get it cheaper than the MSRP that's out there from other places. And what that they all share here is some information that's probably important for you to read and look at and understand. That there are some good capabilities that this Invisagig can do that might help you. Okay, and again, I'm going to actually use the Chester Cheetah as my way to connect my devices to, since it only has Ethernet, and if I want to hook up my tablet, to this and do like speed tests, or if I want to hook my computer up and not have to move Ethernet cable around, I can just run this Ethernet from the Invisagig to the WAN port of this or any other router, and then now I'm connected and I can access the config files that are, or config settings that are on this Invisagig still with the setup. Okay, so I do want to touch on price just a little bit. Normally I kind of ignore the prices, but because they do change. And in fact, this Chester Cheetah price has been coming down as the volumes of orders have been going up. They've been able to do economies of scale and actually reduce the cost there. But it's $495. The Nader Tater code gets you $45 off now, so that brings it down to this $450 price range. The Invisagig one is $650. That's their standard pricing that they have. But again, a Nader Tater 20 off code gets you a discount there. Be sure to check out the video description because those codes sometimes change, and I'll update them there, but I can't update the video itself. And of course, if you're going to buy one of these units, using the code, it helps you, and it helps those sellers know that you came from my channel, so it helps support my channel as well. And I, of course, appreciate any thumbs up or subscribing to the channel as well. Alright, so the first thing that you do when you first get this plugged in, powered up, and hooked up via Ethernet, most likely to your computer, or again, you can go through a wireless router if you really want to, is you need to go to this 192.168.225.1. Don't do what I did and type in 255, because I'm so used to that for like subnet mask, and it doesn't work if you type in the wrong number. So type in the correct number, and then when you do that, it automatically downloads a zip file. And if you extract the zip file like I just did here, these are the 3 files that it has in there. You can then right click, run as administrator on Windows, and that will run this bat file, which will install this certificate that allows you to access it. So that's a little bit cumbersome, but that's how they authenticate that this device is kind of a security protocol to then connect to it. So that's how you do that. Once you do that, then you can go into config.invisagig.com, and it should let you access the device. Alright, so it says that I'm already, okay, so yes, I already had one open, so it says you can't do two. So it has some checks there to make sure that it's only one at a time. This is the main page that it shows you. If I just type in one and enter, this then pulls up my information for my modem as it says. Now right now I'm in the basement, so it does not get great signal, so don't be alarmed that I'm only getting, actually it does pick up 5G NSA right now, the N71, but oftentimes I won't even get that down here. And it's telling you what bands are enabled, it's telling me what network mode I'm in. It gives you your IP addresses. It gives you, some different settings and whatnot. So you just follow the commands. This is, I guess, simple. It is all text, and it is regular English. It's not code that you have to type in. But honestly, I don't think that this is very simple, or it's simple in a bad way, I guess is what I would call it, because it's a little bit cumbersome to go through it in this kind of MS-DOS type prompt layout. I much prefer a click and control GUI that a regular router would have. But this is what it has. I understand the challenges with any kind of custom setup, so you can't have everything. This is what they have, and perhaps that will change or improve over time. It does have over-the-air updates. I did just check it, and I do have the latest. But in here we can go into, it does a couple interesting things. Multiple modem setup. You can have up to 6 of these kind of in series, I guess, in like a failover state, and you can configure that. For the T-Mobile SIM card that I put in there, I was able to just take the business SIM card, put it in, and it worked. It auto selected the APN and everything. I didn't have a problem with that. If you have a T-Mobile home internet SIM card, even Verizon now is starting to crack down a little bit. They are expecting a certain IMEI for the devices, and you might need to do some adjustments there in order for it all to work. So I won't cover that in too much details in this video, but just know that that is something you'll have to look into and either get some help or support from Invisagig or Chester Tech Repairs or others there. You can change your network mode if you want to stay on LTE, or if you want to do 5G SA standalone or 5G NSA non-standalone. You can do band locks, lots of different settings here. But to give you an example for this band lock one, if we go in here and I go to, let's say I want to band lock a 5G NSA, I'll hit 2, and then here it has a list of all the bands that are on, and therefore they're not locked. But I can copy and paste that back into here, and I can just type in the ones I want, and you separate them with a colon, it said. So if I want to say I want to go on 2 and 41, and that's 2 isn't actually a 5G NSA, but still, if I do 41 and 71, that would say it would only do those 3, would not do any of the other ones above it once I set that. But I'm not going to set it. I'm just showing that as an example. Alright, the other unique thing that you can do, other than a tower lock, which is basically a cell lock, so it's not quite a tower lock because it is locking you down to a specific cell. I've shown you how you can do some of that on this Chester Cheetah, and it's very similar on here actually. Alright, so the other thing that is pretty neat is this local tower search. And a lot of the devices don't offer this. I'm not sure why. The only other one I've had is the Elsys Amplimax 4G modem router that does this. But you can actually take the SIM card out, and then let me go into here and just show you. If I go to 7, you have to tell it if you want 5G or 4G. But so let's do the 4G, and then it tells you that your internet might stop working, and then it says to take out the SIM card while it's running. And what that will do is, I'm going to leave my SIM card in, so it's just going to pull T-Mobile data. But if you don't have the SIM card in, it will show you all of your towers that are out there, what their the band is, the cell information, the signal strength, all that kind of stuff. Alright, so there we go. So there it shows you all of these different ones. It gives you all of the cell tower information, the signal strength information, as well as the bandwidth, and of course what band it is. So again, this is actually a fairly small subset because I'm in the basement, but if you're higher up, you can get a lot more, and that really helps you understand how many options you have out there, especially if you're seeing multiple different towers in different directions and you have an antenna or you're trying to place the unit. You might be able to mess with that some. All right, well, let's get up. I'm going to go up to my third floor loft space because that's where I get my best signal, and I'm going to test this unit out and compare it and just see what kind of speeds we get. All right, so I went up to my third floor and did some speed comparisons between this Invisagig, the Chester Cheetah unit, and actually the Sagem-Com 5688W T-Mobile gateway, and those are all with the T-Mobile SIMs in them. And to be honest with you, my speeds tonight were a bit all over the place as far as speed. I've noticed actually a couple of issues for the first time, actually in a long time, that I've actually had some connection issues during the day with my work setup, and I was getting speeds everywhere between 35 megabits per second down and over 100 across all three of these. So it wasn't like just one was acting up and the other one is actually, I think something's going on with my tower. And in fact, my 5G SA is down. It does not work at all where it has in the past. So something must be up at the current time, but I still did the testing. I'm probably going to have to come back and give you a more fair testing because the speeds for all three of the units for download actually overlapped each other. Some would be faster. I rerun it and I'd get a completely different speed, which isn't uncommon to get some significant variation between it. But I was getting more than I was happy with tonight to really stand behind a number. So they all either outperformed or underperformed based off of when I hit the button. And taking an average, it kind of washes out for the download as far as which one's the winner, which isn't actually too surprising. In some cases, I mean, the Chester Cheetah has typically been my fastest one for any of the speed tests, and today it was really a little bit harder to tell which one was the winner there. But for upload, it was still a clear difference, and that was where both of these two units were significantly better than the Sagem-Com unit. From compared to Sagem-Com was probably around 6 megabits per second for upload, and these were in the upper 20s to 30 megabits per second range. So we're talking about 5-6x multiplier in upload capability, and that's probably because of the carrier aggregation that they do with multiple 4G bands, and I think that helps get that upload speed up as well. So overall, I did do some testing on this several days ago or a few weeks ago actually when I first got it in, and at that time this Invisagig basically tied the Cheetah on speeds. In the end, as far as what my thoughts are, would I recommend this? Yes, I actually do recommend it. It is a nice unit for being more compact, easy outdoor antenna connections here. It has a built-in fan, so if you are in a hotter environment, it never actually comes on for me. I think it's 65 degrees Celsius that the chip has to be before it kicks on, so it's never kicked on for me here. And then you get a straight-up Ethernet connection. Now, you do need your own router or hook it to a single device for it to work. You can't hook this to like an Ethernet switch and expect multiple devices to connect to this because there's no routing capability in here. So from that standpoint, it actually does meet what some of you guys are asking for. For the price point, I don't know if it's worth it because from a speed standpoint, you can get the same speed out of that Chester Cheetah. You get a lot of the similar different types of advanced settings with both of them. They both have their quirks and their complications. So it's a little bit of a toss-up. You'll have to decide which one makes the most sense for your specific needs there. But they definitely offer a lot more capability and settings than the stock T-Mobile or Verizon, for that matter, gateways, and so from that standpoint it opens up a lot of doors for you. So alright, and as always, if you have any questions or comments, please put them down below in the comments field, and I do try to get to those. If you have suggestions on, hey, will you test this or will you test that, or explain something more in detail, or if I misspoke and you think I said something wrong, please include that, and that will help everyone learn here together. So thanks.